So for this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Homer Laughlin Toilet Ware. And I'm eventually going to do about 6 or 7 videos on the different shapes and patterns, but I wanted to start off with a little introductory video talking about some of the terminology. So we'll begin by looking at this page of a catalog that shows bridal toilet shape. And this is your basic assortment. So on the top we have a covered chamber pot. We have a commonant, which has a wire handle, the shaving mug, the covered soap dish, the brush vase, the mouth ewer. This is also called a small hot water pitcher, but I will be using the trade name, which is mouth ewer. We have the large ewer with a basin, the slop pail, and the slop jar. So if you were to buy a chamber set, you would get these basic items, and you could get your choice of the pail, the jar, or the commonant. The slop pails were the least expensive, followed by the commonant, and the slop jars were the most expensive, which is probably why we see fewer of those than the other two. Now these pails and jars, their purpose was to, well, you put your slop in there. That's why they're called slop pails and slop jars. Anything from the chamber pot or stuff from the, let's say your shaving mug or anything that's in your basin, you could pour in these pieces and then you could take it outside and dump it. So that way you didn't have to take each and every piece out of your bedroom and clean it. You could dump all the contents in one of these and then dispose of it. Now the way to tell the difference, and this is how I do it, you think of the capital letter P has a flat top to it, so you have this flat top for the slop pail. The letter J is curved at the bottom, so you have this curvature going on, so that's your slop jar. So we're going to see several of these different Homer Laughlin shapes have both. So you have an option. You could either get the slop jar, the pail, or the commonant. Commonant we'll be looking at more detail in the next video. So we'll look at a couple examples of different shapes here. Here's a commonant. This is called the Monterey shape. And the Monterey shape uses embossing that's identical to what we will see on the Lennox shape. But this is a pretty common piece as far as Laughlin commonants go, with its little bail handle. This was supposed to make life easier rather than having a slop jar or slop pail. This particular one comes from 1920. And next we have a Duchess shape. So this is your slop pail. Again, it has that flat top to it. That's how you know it's a slop pail. If it was curved and a little more ornate, then it's a slop jar. And now these are hotelware. So before we look at those in detail, let's look at another catalog page. And this is Laughlin Semi-Vitreous Hotelware's Double Thick. In number 37 we see our covered chamber pot, and number 42 we see the ewer with its basin. So there's your covered chamber pot for hotelware, and then there's your large ewer. One thing I wanted to note about well, a couple things. First of all, this has really nice leaf embossing on the lid. You'll see the leaf embossing on the handle somewhat, on both pieces. But this one has these little pin marks in the bottom. You see these Sager pin marks on plates and platters and flatware from when it was fired in a kiln. So you may wonder why they're on the inside of this. When I was talking about continuous tunnel kilns and upright bottle kilns in a previous video, if you were dealing with bottle kilns, your space was pretty limited. So they made use of these larger pieces like a chamber pot or even mixing bowls by putting in these little tripods. And then from there you could put another piece of pottery, let's say a soap dish, so you could fire 2 pieces at the same time, so you're not wasting space. So they tried to make the most of it when dealing with a bottle kiln. So if you find a piece with these 3 little marks on the inside, it's not at all unusual. And next we have a mouth ewer. This is the Wyoming shape, probably one of the most popular Homer Laughlin Toilet Ware shapes. And the mouth ewers, for me, are the most important pieces because they almost always have a treatment number. And this one is pattern number 714. And we'll be talking more about the treatment numbers and the mouth ewers later on. And now we have a Mingo shaped covered soap dish with blended tint. And they usually have a little drainer in the inside. And this one has a Homer Laughlin mark, no date code, about 1910 or so. And the Superba shape. This is the shaving mug. And we have the Eagle over Lion back stamp. So about 1900 for that one. And a brush vase. This is the Duchess shape, rose and gold stamp. Again, about 1910 for the back stamp. So, one other thing. These are pieces that are not necessarily in sets. So we've got a catalog page here showing cable and sundry toilet wares. So we've got these different soap slabs and soap dishes. And I have a couple examples to show. Number 2 is a square soap dish. So we've got one with blended tint, one with an underglaze print, and one with decal and gold stipple. Let's see if we can find a good marking. Here we go. So it says Homer Laughlin Hotel China. And then number 6 is an oval one. There's your soap slab. Just a regular Homer Laughlin marking. These others, I've never been able to find, like the hanging one. I've never seen one of those. We saw the cable shaving mugs in the cable video. The male and female urinals, very, very hard to find. Spittoons, we're not going to go over spittoons quite yet. The bedpan, a lot of different potteries made bedpans very similar to those. There's a cable covered chamber pot. And this is a cuspidor. Now a cuspidor is basically a slop pail that has no handles and no lid, so it's just an open vessel. There's our Monterey cabinet that we looked at just a moment ago next to the Lennox version. Catalina's a toiletware shape that we'll be looking at in more detail later. And there's a cable ewer with basin. And this catalog page shows 4 different shapes. These come from the 1900s. Mingo, Wyoming, Duchess, and Bridal. These are the most common ones. These are your major 4. When you get to about 1905, there are over 200 different decorations used on toiletware. But by the time you get to 1919, there's only 20 available. Now, that information I'm getting is from the pound sterling catalogs that list all the different treatments for toiletware and dinnerware. So most of the decorations are going to be on these 4 shapes. Now once you hit 1929, you start to see toiletware disappear from catalogs. You start to see the treatments disappear after 1929. So you can pretty much say that that is the end of toiletware, 1930. As more and more homes get indoor plumbing and the rural areas get more indoor plumbing, less and less toiletware is made. So that's it for now. Next time we're going to be looking at the combinant. Oh, there is one more piece I wanted to show. Since I had these soap slabs out, I wanted to show this little odd piece. This is a soap dish, but it has it's one piece with a drainer. But it's pretty special. This comes from the collection of Bill and Donna Gray, and it has a nice little British looking mark, porcelain granite Laughlin Brothers. This is when both Homer and Shakespeare were part of the company, so this dates to the 1870s. So I just wanted to put that out since we're talking about toiletware and soap dishes. Alright, so that's going to be it, and next time we'll look more at the combinants.